Live from deep in an underground bunker in East Tennessee, this is America's premier mortgage fuel services expert, Paul Williams.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Foreclosurepedia Podcast. This is a special edition of Foreclosurepedia Podcast. The date is 26 January 2015. It is 08:43 hours. Today we're going to talk about two things. First thing we're going to talk about is the Jay Goscinski, the Michigan Realty Solutions fiasco that is ongoing. The other item we're going to talk about today is the Snowpocalypse 2015. I'm looking right now at the National Weather Service, their message streaming on teletype direct from New York at 03:29 hours Eastern Standard Time, Monday, January 26, 2015. Quote, crippling and potentially historic blizzard to impact the area from late today into Tuesday. Urgent. This covers northern New Haven, northern Middlesex, northern New London, southern Fairfield, southern New Haven, southern Middlesex, southern New London, Hudson, eastern Bergen, eastern Essex, eastern Union, southern Westchester, New York, Manhattan, Bronx, Richmond, Staten Island, Kings, Brooklyn, northwestern Suffolk, northwestern Suffolk, southwestern Suffolk, southeastern Suffolk, northern Queens, northern Nassau, southern Queens, southern Nassau. That is once again at 03:29 hours Eastern Standard Time, Monday, 26 January 2015. Quote, blizzard warning remains in effect from 1 p.m. That's 1300 Eastern Standard Time this afternoon to midnight Eastern Standard Time Tuesday night. As we get down here a little bit, the locations: New York City and surrounding immediate suburbs, Long Island and most of southern Connecticut. Hazard types: heavy snow and blowing snow with blizzard conditions. Accumulations: snow accumulation of 18 to 24 inches with locally higher amounts possible. Snowfall rates of 2 to 4 inches per hour expected late tonight into Tuesday morning. Winds: north 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts with 45 to 55 mile an hour, strongest along eastern Long Island. Visibilities 1/4 mile or less at times, and the temperatures in the lower 20s. The timing: light snow will begin this morning. That would be 26 January 2015, with accumulations of 1 to 3 inches possible by sunset. Snow will pick up in intensity Monday evening, with the heaviest snow and strongest winds from about midnight into Tuesday afternoon. Impacts: life-threatening conditions and extremely dangerous travel due to heavy snowfall and strong winds. With whiteout conditions, many roads may become impassable. Strong winds may down power lines and tree limbs. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Miller is the executive director of the National Association of Mortgage Field Services regime, has to date refused to issue any alerts to any NAMFS regime offender member and members of labor. In essence, Eric Miller seems to be only concerned with protecting the offender members whom are currently perpetrating and committing atrocities against members of labor. Before we get into the snowpocalypse and the dire warnings, which rarely, if ever, are ever issued as they have been today by the National Weather Service, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to Jeff Carlson. Jeff Carlson is a father of 6, worked directly for Jay Goscinski, Michigan Realty Solutions. This is the same Jay Goscinski whom submitted alleged letters from Altisource on his behalf to the National Association of Mortgage Field Services regime allowing his membership. He received a $5,000 plus check on Christmas Eve. And do you know what the Grinch, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Grinch, Jay Goscinski, did? He wrote him a bogus check. That check bounced. That check looked like what the Harlem Globetrotters shoot basketball with. So let's get right down to it. Let's talk with Jeff here for a moment.
This is Jeff.
Morning, Jeff. My name is Paul Williams. I'm the editor-in-chief of foreclosurepedia.org. I was calling you. I have a message on my line this morning pertaining to Jay Goscinski. You have a couple minutes to talk?
Yeah, I sure do.
Excellent. As you know, Foreclosurepedia has been covering the atrocities and the fraud committed by Jay Goscinski against members of labor, and I got your message this morning, and I was pretty blown away about that. I wondered if you'd give me just a basic overview and a little recap of that, up to and including when you received this check that really that really was more like a basketball the Harlem Globetrotters use.
Sure. And when I do, I'm sure it's going to contain stuff that won't surprise you, but maybe some of it will. I started working for Michigan Realty May of 14, the end of May, and getting paid was.
Let me interrupt. Was that 2014 then?
Yeah, that was 2014.
Excellent.
And getting paid was just an ongoing issue. You never got your full paycheck. It was just enough to keep you going. And so it finally got to the point where, bill collectors hounding me, everything else. It just came to the point where it was no. I'm not going to do any more work. And so I decided that I was going to call the Alta sources, the MRSs, and or the MCSs, and the bigger ones, and see if they could give any of assistance. So I emailed Alta source out of Germany. I emailed the people in Germany, and
I think you actually probably mean Luxembourg. Is that correct?
Yeah, Luxembourg.
Very good.
And got a hold of the general counsel there.
Was his name by any chance, or did you deal with a man by the name of Robert Bridges?
No.
Okay, very good.
And if you want to give me your email, I will forward the emails and the correspondences to you. But he indicated that he would look into it and directed it to the office in Atlanta, Georgia.
Pat McTaggart?
James Vaca.
Okay, very familiar, yes, sir.
And then Pat McTaggart. And also a guy by the name of Mateo.
Yep.
Forwarded them my invoices. They looked into it, and in a nutshell, created a conference call between Ray, I think it's Zimbrowski, or whoever his operations director is, the other lying fucker over there.
Sure.
And concluded that they owed me $5,100 yet on all source work. Well, this was after manipulating the invoices and everything else from other jobs I got paid in. They transferred it to all the Alta source invoices.
Right.
And showed that they owed me an outstanding balance of $5,100, and if I would sign this waiver of lien release and everything else, they'd mail me a check. And they emailed me, and I said, the only way I'm going to do that then, since you manipulated my invoices, is if you send me a new spreadsheet or invoice that shows and states exactly the amount you still owe me. So Ray did that, and I signed the waiver and emailed it in, and on December 24th, when I went to the mailbox, there was a check for $5,103. I went to my bank with the check, and the bank, of course, ran it through the IntelliCheck, and it came back as a good check, and they gave me the cash for the check. And then I found out on December, I believe it was 30th, I should have had more money in my account, and my account was debited for, that $5,100. He had stopped payment on the check. After, all source helped reach the agreement and everything else. Since then, I'm at risk of losing my house. Utilities are being, shut off. But the whole typical story.
Did you reach back out to Altisource and inform them that Goscinski? Go ahead.
I did do that. I contacted Altisource and via email said, all deals off. This is not a done deal. This is what he did. I sent Mateo a copy of the check. They again indicated that they were going to, get a hold of Jay and try to, find out, why, etc. And the only responses they got were, he's going to have to contact our attorney, etc., etc. And I have sent probably a dozen emails asking for their attorney's name to MRS, and they will not release the name of their attorney. And Altisource advised me to get an attorney and handle it legally. So I've, borrowed money, got an attorney who is just basically going to try to give me a judgment for what is owed so we can have a judgment against Jay and MRS. But, whether it's collectible, that's the big issue of whether or not he's got the money to pay it. And from everything, it sounds like he probably doesn't, because he's been a little rough and candor.
Everything that I have seen, and I've actually spoken with him at length, and I've had lengthy emails with him, Jay Goscinski is financially insolvent. And as a matter of fact, even his entry into the National Association of Mortgage Field Services regime was based upon fraudulent documents that were forged originating from Altisource. And that comes directly from the former Associate General Counsel of Altisource, Robert Bridges.
Okay.
But I'm kind of blown away by the fact that so here these are Altisource properties, and Altisource isn't stepping up and saying so. Hey, because Altisource has about $250,000 that they're withholding from him. So to me, $5,000 would be pretty simple. But more on point, have you gone down and spoken with your district attorney or whatever you might call it in your state and stated, look, so this isn't a normal bounce check. This is, first of all, what state are you in?
I'm in Michigan.
Yeah, so to me, this is using the United States Postal Service to send out, in essence, a worthless check. And to me, it's a conspiracy, because the check did originally have money. This was part of an agreement, and then he takes the freewheeling and overt action to actually cancel it. So to me, at least here in Tennessee, that would be a crime.
Yeah. And that is one of my next steps. Where basically, I'm not the author of the check. And there were funds available. It's mail fraud, it's check fraud, and that will be my next step. I've dedicated myself right now to these people will pay. It might not be financially, but they will pay.
I tell you what, if you will, my email address is, so you know the name of my website, foreclosurepedia.org.
Right.
If you just put COO, that's Charlie Oscar Oscar at, so COO at foreclosurepedia.org. If you'll send me a copy of the check, first thing I'll do is I'll make sure that it is big and bold. And because it's
Okay.
it's Monday, and because we're staring down the snowpocalypse up in New York, and nobody else is putting out information about that, everybody's going to see Jay's shit front and center. Make no mistake about that. And then the second thing is that I will fundamentally drive home the point that that now Jay has gone far beyond just committing atrocities against innocent men and women, that he's involved in conspiracies to commit mail fraud. You know, and I have absolutely no problem. You know, in my in my humble opinion, you know, Jay Goscinski is a worthless sack of fucking shit. And more on point, though, Eric Miller, who supports him, who actually supports what Jay does through his acquiescence, through his silence, is a worthless sack of fucking shit. And I mean, what we have is a criminal enterprise.
Certainly.
You know, we have people whom are committing crimes. What they're doing is they're transmitting these messages using electronic means across state lines in the furtherance of artifices and schemes. Eric Miller, the executive director of NAMFS, this son of a bitch, he gets over $120,000 per year to try to keep all this shit silent. And this motherfucker ought to be talking to the FBI. And what he's doing is absolutely nothing. You know?
Right.
So to me, the way I see it, Miller's just as fucking guilty as Jay Goscinski.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I listened to your podcast this morning. I've taken it basically upon myself to try to rally the troops in Michigan. Because I went in to talk to him at one time, and that arrogant prick looked me right in the face and pointed his finger at me and said, "No one contractor will ever shut me down." And I thought, you haven't met me yet, you motherfucker.
Yeah, well, because, you give me the contractor, which is you. You give me the podcast, which streams on iTunes, YouTube, and everywhere else, and you give me Foreclosurepedia. And when I am done, this cocksucker won't get a job at fucking McDonald's. This motherfucker will be fortunate if he can get on his hands and knees and suck cock in a fucking public restroom to put food on his fucking table. Motherfucker fucked with the wrong people, man. I'd love nothing more than to see that. It would be worth $12,000 that prick still owes me. Foreclosurepedia doesn't charge a penny. We do what we do because we're a friend of labor. Right. And his managers quit on him, and they're all calling me, offering me jobs, and shit. I got burned twice. I got burned by New River Construction, which gets a lot of their work from National Field Underwriters, which Sherry Knott. You mean National Field Network? Yeah, and you've seen what I've been releasing National on them. Field Network. And I kind of chuckled about that, because the reason I went to Altisource is because the guy's name is Harvey Van Hoy or something like that, the owner of New River Construction, right, in Detroit. He tried to rip me off on $14,000 he owed me of National Field's work, and I sent all my invoices to Sherry Knott, who looked over all my photos and everything and pulled it all up, and within a week and a half cut me a check for the full amount. I was impressed. I'm real impressed by that, because I have sources that are actually inside of their offices, both in Texas and New Jersey, and I'm hearing some horrific shit. But I'm going to take the big step of actually, I'm not going to quote your name on that, but I'm going to state that there was something good, because I don't want to just destroy people. If there's something good, I want to report on that. But if it's bad, I want to crucify motherfuckers upside down. Right. Yeah. See, this Van Hoy was going into my properties and staging stuff, so it looked like I didn't do the work to try to not pay me. And Sherry had the pictures, and she went through them all, and I got an email from her months ago saying we're overnighting you a check. That's good.
And,
and that was on an multi-source job?
No, well, I don't know who those jobs were for.
Probably RMS, Reverse Mortgage
Yeah,
Solutions.
I think that's what it was. But yeah, I will send you, when we hang up, I'm doing one of my, multiple jobs right now to try to make ends meet. I will, email you a photo of the check and, get that to you right away. And then I'll, when I get home, you have access to my computer, I'll start, sending you emails with the other stuff.
Excellent. And make no mistake that within about 20 minutes, all of this, all the information, there's going to be an enormous blast that goes out. And so we're going to put some fire under Jay's ass. We're going to put some fire under Eric Miller's ass. And we're going to see how they respond. And here's the big deal, because most of these big players are in the Northeast. They ain't got nothing to do right now but lay around and masturbate and watch the snow. So you're going to listen to this. You're going to see it. And it's just going to sit on their minds while the snowpocalypse hits in. Hey, anything I can do, brother, and if you know anybody else who's been injured by this prick, make sure you send them my way. I don't charge a penny. All I want is people paid, man.
I appreciate it. And again, it's COO at foreclosurepedia.org.
O-R-G.
Or .org. Okay.
Excellent.
I will get that right out to you, and you don't have to hide or blank out my name. That's for damn sure.
Well, then I won't. Make no mistake. And what I'll also do is in one of your emails when you get home, if you'll include the areas that you handle, a good contact for you, and precisely what all services you provide, I'll reach out to the people that I deal with that actually pay contractors, and I'll allow you to speak with they. You know, because that's my end game at the end of the day. Look, I know we're never going to have a completely level landscape. But what I do know is this, that there actually are some good members of management out there, and there are a hell of a lot of damn good members of labor. And it's a matter of putting these two parties together, speaking quietly, to begin to turn this bullshit around. And there's going to be there's going to be a heavy body count. What I'm worried about, and I'll be very specific, I don't advocate violence, but at some point in time, what we're going to end up with is a body count. You know, and make no mistake, that's why I do not understand why the government hadn't stepped in, because at some point in time, you're going to have some motherfucker go postal out there.
You are, and you know, that's what scares me. I mean, someone isn't going to have the resources, and fortunately, the family that will come to your side, and they're going to have nothing to live for, and
pop. That's it, man. I talked 2 contractors down just over the past 3 weeks. One guy was heading to the pawn shop. And so that's why I try to. When I hear something going down, I try to get the information out there, you know, and it's like getting blood out of a turnip. But I don't want to interrupt you. You're a working man. Get on that job. I wish my best goes out to you and your family. Get me that information. Get me the information on you, and I guarantee you within 72 hours, if not 48, I'm going to get information out about companies that I deal with. And then the Jay Goscinski info goes up. I have 09:08 Eastern Daylight Time. This information will be up by 09:30.
I appreciate it. I will get it right out to you.
Excellent. My best to you and yours, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, you may reach me on Google Plus at D. Paul Williams, LinkedIn, Paul Williams, and the LinkedIn group Property Preservation Consortium, Twitter, Foreclosurepedia. We stream all our podcasts on iTunes, Foreclosurepedia. We have our screencasts over on YouTube, the Foreclosurepedia channel, and always at foreclosurepedia.org. We'd like to give a special shout out to Amazon.com, whom provides our S3 podcast and video storage, and Cloudflare for hosting Foreclosurepedia in 24 different geo-positioned servers, pro bono as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give me a shout out, COO at foreclosurepedia.org. NAMFS.org.